That's when you could feel love, reason, joy, peace, enlightenment, all that stuff. Because like that's all Jesus was talking about, was just love, loving your brother, loving your neighbor, all this stuff.
You need to
Yeah.
transcend the lower emotions before you can reach the higher ones.
Yeah, and we don't, if you think about it, no one does anything in their everyday life that allows them to just reflect. The only time that you're by yourself in your mind is if you're meditating or going, for most people, just like laying down and going to sleep. And people that struggle with depression and stuff, they struggle to even close their eyes because they can't cope with the emotions and the thoughts that are flooding through their brain, right?
Yeah, you just can't go into that state of trying to go to sleep until you're just like so tired. You hit the bed and that's it. You don't have to deal with that. And you're really just running away from it. And like you were saying with the earth and the Gospel of Thomas, they asked Jesus about the kingdom of heaven, and he says the kingdom of heaven is spread amongst the earth and man doesn't see it. And it really is true that the true beauty of the earth that isn't man-made but was made before us, it is beautiful. You look at the trees, mountains, oceans, lakes, fish, birds, everything, the sunset, the sunrise, it's all beautiful.
Yeah.
That is the heaven. It's right here. You get in such a high vibrational state that you look up at the sky and it seems like it's right there. You realize, wow, this is the heaven that we were trying to get to. And that's probably the mind state that Jesus lived in constantly, that what we just experienced for a short amount of time was like him on a bad day living constantly in that state of heaven.
And
Yeah.
I think Jesus wasn't the only one to kind of experience that, right? I feel more along the lines of there were societies even before our society emerged. Like you could look at Atlantis, Lemuria, higher level societies where they're vibrating at higher rates, right? Now that brings us right to the Atlantean priest thing, right? I have a real good quote right here. Seek thou for wisdom always, let not thine body betray, keep in the path of the light wave, shun thou the darkened way. Know thee that wisdom is lasting, existing since the all soul began, creating harmony from chaos by the law that exists in the way. List ye, O man, to the teaching of wisdom. List to the voice that speaks of the past time. I shall tell thee knowledge forgotten. Tell ye of wisdom hidden in the past time, lost in the mist of darkness around me. Know ye, man, ye are the ultimate of all things. Only the knowledge of this is forgotten, lost when man was cast into bondage, bound and fettered by the chains of darkness. Right. So I think that one's a good one because it explains the beginning and the end. Right. So I just brought up Atlantis. Right. The light was shining in Atlantis until the chains of darkness fettered humanity. Right. Humanity's been in a mental enslavement for as long as we can remember. People have looked to an external God. People haven't been worshiping themselves or any of that, right? They've been looking outside of themselves for fulfillment when the fulfillment is within them. And right, he also brings up the all soul, the one, right? We're all one soul, but it's just the illusion of disconnection between me and John and me and Sean. And creating harmony from the chaos, right? There has to be balance. To have harmony, you have to have chaos. To have evil, you have to have good. To have masculine, you have to have feminine. It's all just chasing the snake's bite in its tail, right? And the wisdom is to know how that power, right? When you put the two as one, you get power, how that power works in the universe, right? And wisdom is the way how everybody gains knowledge of themselves, right? Through wisdom. But with wisdom, you also need love. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wisdom without love is very bad. It's like freedom with no morals. It's just it creates something that's very powerful but isn't in a good way. You
Yeah,
need that balance. You need to really make those two one and put them together. And
yeah,
that's another thing that Jesus talked about, just like Thoth, when you make the two one, the masculine, feminine, he said all these same things, that's when you really begin to create that heaven state, when you're able to just merge everything together.
yeah. And we talked about the law of one too in our last video, and how some of these higher dimensional beings that ascended the third dimension of consciousness, right? Some would say the reptilian or different types of aliens, right? They simply went straight past the fourth density of love, right? they thought they didn't have to learn that because it wasn't of any importance to them, right? But so simply they became masters of wisdom in the fifth density. But now they're using that wisdom for because they think they're doing good for humanity, right? But in reality, they're missing the love, and they're not putting the two and the one together. So they're operating strictly from wisdom and not operating with love. So they're only creating damage to this plane.
And chaos, because wisdom without
Yeah.
love creates chaos.
Just
And
like love without wisdom, you end up doing bad things too. That's very relevant in
that's very
politics.
good.
People do something because they think it's going to be good, but then it turns out to be bad. And it's like an endless cycle of people thinking they're doing good, but really creating bad things.
Yeah, and if you're acting out of love, drives people mad too. Like you said,
Crazy.
if you're not operating with wisdom and just love, like you could do, people do some fucked up shit and just be like say like you have a psycho ex-girlfriend or something, a psycho ex-boyfriend, and they love you, right? And then they kill your new boyfriend and girlfriend because they loved you, right? But is that true love? Like, no, that's all fucking bullshit. They're not operating with like consciousness. They're like, the love just overtakes them, and it's so powerful that they don't know what to do with it, and they expel it on something negative so bad, you know?
One without
We really need a censor on John. We got to bleep him out.
one
Not
without the other.
PG.
Yeah, he does got to keep it PG. No, I don't give a fuck.
This ain't PG, bro.
Nah.
We're breaking realities.
No, we need everybody and their parents watching this. They need that parental guidance.
You think God gives a fuck what I say, bro?
Maybe.
This guy, oh no, this guy daddy's gonna punish me. I have to repent now because I cursed. But to be fair, Jesus didn't curse.
To be fair.
Yeah.
If we're okay, I'm wrong. I take everything I said back. If we're operating, which everyone should be operating through Jesus, through Yeshua, trying to emulate him, you shouldn't curse. It's very low vibration, very negative. But at the same time, it's very fun to say fuck. So you gotta live out this third dimensional existence one way or another. You gotta
expel negative energy somehow.
Yeah,
if that's your way.
It's all positive in 3D. So like you gotta tap into both the negative sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Definitely got to experience the negative every so often. Otherwise, there's no point.
It's like doing.
You think that Jesus, when he was out fasting for 40 days, you think that was fun? I doubt it. Not eating anything, not drinking, just chillaxing. Well, not even chillax, just praying.
Yeah, bro. He probably wanted to do some fuck shit at that time too. He was probably bored, starving. You know what I'm saying?
He was probably in such a crazy meditative state out there.
Probably crazy. Honestly, we can't.
That's that discipline though.
Yeah,
that most people don't have. You need that discipline to be able to do that, to be able to do something even like that.
Mm-hmm.
On a much smaller scale. I doubt any of us could go 40 days without food.
I don't think so.
And I couldn't even skip lunch.
Without light too. Think about when the sun sets in the desert, man. That's you're in pitch black, pitch darkness, man.
It's freezing.
You're getting tempted the whole time you're out there. Aubrey Marcus talks about he did the a week.
I think it was 5 days in darkness, right?
What?
It was 5 days in darkness.
5 days, maybe 5. It was definitely 5 days, maybe a week. Probably 5 days, right? But you could check him out, Aubrey Marcus on Instagram or whatever.
Creator of On It.
Yeah, creator of On It. Very highly conscious man. Did tons of ayahuasca ceremonies. Done tons of stuff. He has the Aubrey Marcus.
He's very spiritual.
Yeah, when are you doing the ayahuasca ceremony, John?
Chill. That's not for this podcast, Stardy.
Nah.
But yeah, so he sat in darkness for 5 days, literally sat in darkness, and he said he was just like he was really tripping out, right? He said he got contacts from other entities, higher dimensional beings. He had a conversation with his dad who passed away. Like all this crazy shit happened when you just sit in complete darkness, right?
That was no substances or anything.
Oh, right? Complete sober.
Nothing. So I guess it just drives the mind into a state of like almost like insanity, but not insanity, because in the same way that you dream at night where the DMT is secreted in your brain, right? And those visualizations, you're tricked into thinking you're dreaming. So he was consciously living out his dreams,
Yeah,
right?
that's what was happening.
Yeah.
I think that something crazy must happen when that happens, because I know when I get into some meditative states and I've lucid dreamed before, like that's reality. It seems more real than this does right now.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine what he was.
He said that that was more profound than any DMT ayahuasca trip that he's ever had. And
You can't beat the natural human body no matter how hard we try.
Nah, that brings up that's I think that's crazy, because we dream every night and people take dreams for granted, right?
people do.
Yeah.
Dream.
You guys were in my dreams last night. I was dreaming crazy shit. We were gonna do a podcast in my dream. We were trying. We were just doing it here, and here we are.
And right,
All
dream
create
every
your
night.
reality, right?
That's like a psychedelic experience you have every single night. Your brain's just rerunning. It's like your own show. You have your own TV series that you watch every night, and your brain is the director of it. You're just letting it run, man. And people take it for granted. Like,
for real, because dreaming, it's like you wake up and the first thing you think about is your dream, and you think, well, why did that happen? That was strange. What does it mean? And it's like you wake up and the first thing you do is your brain forcing you to think. It's forcing you to use your brain. And it's a good thing, especially because there's a lot that you can take out of your dreams if you know more about it, and you write them down, you try and look into it, and you allow yourself to become into these dream states, not by messing up your REM sleep doing other stuff.
That's all about the self-reflection afterwards.
Yeah, especially if you can become conscious in your dream, because if you become conscious in your dream, you're essentially in the fourth dimension, or fourth density rather, because if you become conscious in a dream, you could physically manifest anything that's infinite, pretty much. Literally, you can bring anything into existence in the.
It takes practice though, because
Yeah.
the first time you become lucid in a dream, you don't have much control. And I still haven't mastered it, but by any means.
But that's the idea.
I do occasionally become lucid. And when you remember it in the morning, a lot of times you'll become lucid, you won't remember it because it's such a small occurrence until your brain shuts off and goes back to sleep. But like, there's been a bunch of times where I became lucid in my dreams, and I look at my hands, I do a reality check, right? I go like this, I put my fingers right through my palm, and everything just polarizes. I'm in the dream, and it's almost unreal when you realize it. Like, I've flown off the ground before. I've thrown energy balls with my hands doing qigong. Like,
I had a dream where I was fucking Iron Man, bro, and nah, deadass, this happened to me. I was literally Iron Man, and I had to put the suit on, and the suit was in a bunch of pieces, right? And I was fumbling with putting it together, and all the other Avengers were fighting the bad guys or whatever, and I was like, fuck, like I can't put the suit on. And then all of a sudden, like, I became conscious in the dream, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, just put the suit on. Like, when you can't do something in the dream.
That's always like the tell.
Yeah,
when you can't do something, you can't type something out, you can't run away. That's usually when I'm like, oh man, this is a dream. I'm waking myself up with some bullshit.
So then I finally put the suit on, and I was like, fuck, like I can't fly. Like I've never put the suit on before. Like, I don't know how to fly. And the building was like burning, right? There was no face to the wall. So it was just like I had to take a leap of faith, right? So I take the leap of faith, and then like all of a sudden I was like, I can fly, like I can do this, I can fly, I'm in a dream. And then I just took off like fucking Iron Man. I was fucking flying around and shit, but I was conscious. And the only reason I was able to do so was because I was conscious in that dream.
Like oh, never mind. I was gonna spoil the new Matrix movie. I'm not going to.
Don't do that for the
fans. Okay. Okay, so speaking of leap of faith, I think we're just about tapped on time for this podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a leap of faith. I'm gonna say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Oh yeah, good night to everybody.
We gotta say our thing. We're not on you. This is gonna get uploaded to YouTube.
It's gonna be on YouTube.
We're still coming after you, YouTube. Like this.
Yeah, YouTube. We're coming after you big time.
We're definitely coming after you. We're coming after Bill Gates, Zuck, the Rothschilds, anyone you could think of.
We're coming after deepfake Fauci if he's still alive.
Zaki, Biden, all those fucking retards. We're coming after them.
All right, we're coming
after everyone.
Good night, YouTube, before we get banned.